So I'm a doctor, and rather than seeing patients, I like discovering new medicines, and I was happily doing that, working with pharmaceutical companies for a number of years until I came across this paper. And in the research, they used honey, and they compared it to the standard antivirus medication, a drug that sells hundreds of millions of dollars worth every year. And the results were pretty remarkable. Now, living in New Zealand, I know that our honeys are famous for having high antibacterial activity. That means they're very good at killing bugs. And all honeys are different. Where they're from and how they're processed gives them different qualities. And on this slide, you just need to look at the two red arrows. So we tested some New Zealand honey, some Carnuka honey from the Bay of Plenty against MRSA. I don't know if you've heard of MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. This is the superbug. This is the bug that, by definition, the strongest antibiotics cannot kill. This is the bug that closes hospital wards, and it costs health systems millions of dollars. And yet you can see from the circles on there, when we put honey onto the MRSA, it kills the MRSA stone dead. It's incredibly powerful. Now, the honey we use, as I say, is called Carnuka. It's related to Manuka, the more famous one, and they're both tea trees growing almost exclusively in New Zealand. The other reason we use it is because the Carnuka has anti-inflammatory properties. We'll come on to that later. Now, I'm not the first to use honey. On the left, you'll see Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine himself, and 2,500 years ago, he was using honey and talking about it and writing about it to cure infections and to heal wounds. And so if you look at the properties of honey, it heals wounds, it kills bacteria, it reduces inflammation. This is sort of the perfect combination. If you had a committee designing a dermatology product, these are the features you would be looking for. Now, before we could start testing it as a medical treatment on people, we had two problems to solve. Now, the first one, you'll know from honey that you keep in your kitchens at home. In the winter, it gets rock hard and crystallizes. You can hardly get it out of the jar. In the summer, it gets too hot and runny, and if you put it on, it will just drip off. And so we managed to solve this problem of temperature stability by adding just a little bit of glycerin, simple old glycerin. You can't do too much to natural products. If you do too much, you'll ruin their effectiveness, but a little bit of glycerin makes it a beautiful, stable product. And the other thing is sterility. Honey is not sterile, and you don't want to be putting non-sterile things on infected skin or wounds. The honey that you have at home has got bits of hive in there, dead bacteria, bits of dead bees. It literally has bees' knees in there. Now, I don't want to put you off. It's perfectly safe to eat. Your stomach acid will destroy all those nasty things. But as a skin medicine, that's no good. And so we sterilize the honey, and that's what medical honey is, or pharmaceutical honey. It's honey that's been sterilized. And we do that in a two-step process of filtration and then pasteurization. I'm not going to bore you with lots of numbers. This research, again, was published in the British Medical Journal Open just last month and showed that honey was highly effective for acne. And ongoing here in Wellington, we have the second largest trial ever for any product for cold sores. It's being run at the Medical Research Institute of New Zealand in Wellington Hospital, run by Dr. Alex Samprini, and he's going to be looking for 950 people to take part on this research. And we anticipate the results next year, and I'm strongly confident we'll find that it's better than any treatment that's already out there. Because a cold sore at the end of the day is just a wound, and a wound that needs to be healed. Now, it's not just us looking at the medical properties of honey. Other researchers are focusing on other conditions, and particularly wounds. And that can be wounds from injuries, wounds after surgery, or even burns from radiotherapy from people with cancer. And the results are fantastic. We find that honey heals the wounds really nicely. It stops them getting infected. And because of both these factors, there's less scarring as well. We have a problem. We have a big problem. This is the logo for the World Health Organization. And they have stated that the #1 health emergency is antibiotic resistance. And there are a lot of scare stories in the media. A lot of them are rubbish. This one is the real deal. This is a really important issue. And bugs become resistant to antibiotics, and when they do, then they don't work. And so my idea that I think is worth spreading is the use of honey as a medical treatment to help things like acne and rosacea. By doing so, we can help people with these conditions and spread happiness.